And we're back. Advent of Code is back for 2024. It's been a year. We've been waiting a long time. It's finally here. The first problem released a couple of hours ago. All right, so quick recap of what this is. Advent of Code is a website developed by a guy called Eric Wastel, and it features 25 problems, mathematically oriented in some way, usually, but they all are intended to require coding. They may not require coding. Sometimes you can even solve them with pen and paper, but generally the gist is there exists a way of solving them using coding and within a reasonable time frame as well. Okay, let's have a look. these are the past events. The first advent of code was in 2015. I think there were only like a couple of hundred people doing it back then, before it really took off, and now it's like basically the most popular thing of its kind, because there isn't really anything like this out there. So yeah, each day there is let's have a look at this. Like day 1, you got a description, like input and output constraints, explanation, and then you get an input as well, which is always going to be like something like this. So you can't usually do anything by hand, you need to use coding for this. And you have to solve a part 1 and a part 2, generally. Part 2 is usually harder, but that's not always the case. Sometimes it's actually easier. Yeah, that's Advent of Code. I will be solving mine in Python. I do recommend using Python, but by all means use any other language. Like, it doesn't matter, because the site is not running your code. You just run the code locally and provide the answer to the question that's posed here. Also, you can't just copy my answer and paste it, because it won't work. If you log into the site, you will get a different question, different input, and so on. So, you get the same question, but different input, so you'll get a different answer. So there's like an anti-cheating thing in place. What else? Also, AI is banned. Well, LLMs are banned as of a couple of years back. You can't, because AI is just too good at solving these problems, especially the easier ones. It'll solve it in a matter of seconds. So I agree with the ban. You're meant to solve these yourself. And if you want to join my leaderboard, I have one here. Let's see. That's the code there. But when I upload this to YouTube later, I'll copy that into the description. Let's take a look at this. Oh, no, wrong event. We're in 2024. Alright, so some of my leaderboard people have already solved problems. That's cool. I don't know if Omaro is going to do it this year. So yeah, that is Advent of Code. Highly recommend it. It's a great way to learn, not just because the problems are insightful, but also because of the community. There's like a really big community around this, and they're really supportive, and like, it's the best way to learn. You need a community around you that's sort of on the same page, and people you can bounce ideas off, or ask for help when you get stuck. So yeah, the community extends to Reddit, Discord. Some people have their own small Advent of Code channels in their coding discords, where a group of people will like discuss problems. One such is Captain Coders, who I've been following. I don't know if Captain Coder is going to do it this year. Last year, Captain Coder streamed the problems. We'll see. I haven't heard from him. So yeah, I guess we'll just get started. Day 1. What do we think the theme is going to be this time? Like, this builds a picture of some sort. It looks like a train tracks. Sorry, there's a bit of drilling going on outside. Not great timing. Alright. Day 1. Historian Hysteria. You know what? I forgot to get coffee. I'm gonna have to do this problem coffeeless. Perish the thought. The chief historian is always present for the big Christmas sleigh launch. But nobody has seen him in months. Last anyone heard, he was visiting locations that are historically significant to the North Pole. A group of senior historians has asked you to accompany them as they check the places they think he was most likely to visit. As each location is checked, they will mark it on their list with a star. They figure the chief historian must be in one of the first 50 places they'll look, so in order to save Christmas, you need to help them get 50 stars on their list before Santa takes off on December the 25th. Collect stars by solving puzzles. 2 puzzles will be made available on each day in the Advent calendar. The second puzzle is unlocked when you complete the first. Each puzzle grants 1 star. Good luck. We haven't even left yet, and the group of Elvish senior historians has already hit a problem. Their list of locations to check is currently empty. Eventually, someone decides that the best place to check first would be the chief historian's office. Upon pouring into the office, everyone confirms that the chief historian is indeed nowhere to be found. Instead, the elves discover an assortment of notes and lists of historically significant locations. This seems to be the planning the chief historian was doing before he left. Perhaps these notes can be used to determine which locations to search? Throughout the chief's office, the historically significant locations are listed not by name, but by a unique number called the location ID. To make sure they don't miss anything, the historians split into 2 groups, each searching the office and trying to create their own complete list of location IDs. There's just one problem. By holding the 2 lists up side by side, it quickly becomes clear that the lists aren't very similar. Maybe you can help the historians reconcile their lists. For example, maybe the lists are only off by a small amount. To find out, pair up the numbers and measure how far apart they are. Smallest in the first list with the smallest in the right list, second, and so on. Okay, so we take the 2 lists, we order them. Within each pair, figure out how far apart the 2 numbers are. You need to add up all those distances. I think I've got it, okay. Alright. Seems clear enough. This is like a one-liner, I think. So we copy this into the IDE. I'm using PyCharm. It's a popular IDE for using Python. I'm running Python. Let me remember how I set this up. Oh. Okay. Also, let's put a fade transition on there. Yeah, that looks better. Okay, alright, so there's our, is that a tab character? Spaces, doesn't matter. Alright, so let's get started. With, I've forgotten how to code now, with open input.text. Read only. You don't need that flag, but I always do it as F. So we want 2 lists here. So A, B equals, let's say A and B are the 2 lists. Let's say X for line in F dot read lines XY equals int Z in line dot split. So I'm gonna get the 2 numbers, and then we just say a dot append x b b dot append y. Alright, so that gets two lists. Let's just check now that don't debug. Stop. Print A. Print B. Okay. Alright. So that's the two lists of integers. Seems to be correct. Empty entries. Alright. Then we do a.sort. Sort. So these should now be in order. Yep, that looks right. And now we want so we want the sum of, so it's going to be like absolute value of ai minus bi. Do we want absolute or do we want raw distance? Yeah, it's absolute value. Doesn't matter which one's bigger. So we want the absolute value for I in range. Just for convenience, we can say n equals length a, because we might need to use that variable again. That. So is that the answer? Let's just try it then. Correct. Your analysis only confirmed what everyone feared. The two lists of location IDs are indeed very different. Or are they? The historians can't agree on which group made the mistakes or how to read most of the chief's handwriting. But in the commotion you notice an interesting detail. A lot of location IDs appear in both lists. Maybe the other numbers aren't location IDs at all, but rather misinterpreted handwriting. This time you'll need to figure out exactly how often each number from the left list appears in the right list. Calculate a total similarity score by adding up each number in the left list after multiplying it by the number of times that number appears in the right list. Here are the same example lists again. Alright, I think I get it. So for each, we want to sum up for each number in A, we want to sum up how many times it appears in B. And there's an inefficient way we can do this, which will probably still work because it's only 1,000 entries. We can use quadratic time. Let's just use the efficient way. So hang on, so this is part 1. Or at least part 1, the real logic for part 1 begins like here. This is just like prep. Alright, so I think I want to use counter here. Collections, imports, counter, is that right? So let's say C equals counter B. That immediately turns B into a frequency table, telling us how many of each appears. So 27070 appears 20 times, and so on. And if something doesn't appear in the table at all, like banana, it should be 0. So it has defaults, which is important. 0. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So it's every input can be, you can check for the frequency. All right. So we want sum of C A I for I in range n. That's it, right? For each item, we take the item in A and see how many times it appears in B. 440? No. That's not what we do. Let's take a look at this again. Similarity score. Multiply. So you take the number, multiply it by its frequency. So 0 means it won't contribute. Okay. Not that it did already, but so we want so we want print sum. So it's going to be AI times its count. Yeah, because 440 is a small number. That seemed a bit fishy. Small numbers usually aren't correct because they're easily guessable. So correct. Did it. Day 1 down. So that's a quick lesson in sorting. If you're doing Python in particular, it's a quick lesson in generators. Oh, well, not generators. List comprehensions. List comprehensions are a Pythonic way of doing like map reduce maps or reductions to a list. So that's what we did. We summed up the. Hello, Smab UK. Welcome in. Are you doing this year's? Have you already done today's problem? Do you know if Captain Kodo is doing it? I haven't heard anything. So yeah, that was a nice easy warm-up problem. Unlike the year before last year, there was a really nasty one, wasn't there? What was that? 2022? No, not 2022. But last year, it's 2023. Yeah, this one. The infamous, what was the particular case that caught people out? It was like, well, it's not here, it's in the input, I guess. Oh, yeah. No tricky ones today. Well, no tricky day 1 problem. But yeah, this is a good warm-up problem because it covers some of the first things you ever learn if you study computer science or algorithms or data science or anything like that. Sorting, because sorting is immensely important. Summing, sorting, mapping. That's like 90% of what you do if you work as a data scientist. Yeah, so similarity score, you could like make a lambda function or something, but it's not necessary really. Well, it's the same thing. Yep, nothing much else to say about this. I was thinking before I read the similarity score, I thought they might be getting at like set difference, or whatever it's called. Like set theory, where one set minus another one. So then we'd want to like just turn them into sets, subtract one from the other, you get like leftovers, something like that. Okay. Let's have a look at stats. Yeah. Oh, nothing much to say about the stats until we see more days, because there's always going to be a big peak in the first few days, and then people start giving up. Leaderboard, private leaderboard as well. Yep. Some people have started Captain Coder's leaderboard. Oh. Alright then, I'm done. In less than half an hour. That won't always be the case. What was the longest I took for some problems? Maybe 4 to 5 hours, something like that. Alright then, I'll figure out what time I'm actually going to do these. It's probably not going to be on release, but maybe 2 hours after release or something. So... Yep, that's it then. Oh! I didn't even... Oh yeah. Yeah, I did have the browser open. Okay. Well, see you tomorrow then, and I'll have to get started on editing my YouTube and uploading this and sorting out all that stuff. So this will be uploaded, and I should add like the leaderboard code, a git paste, a GitHub, a gist paste of my code as well. I'll do that as well. So see you tomorrow. Happy Advent of coding.